Okay, going into the new week, first of all, we have composite that was forming from the past 6 weeks. As you can see, this week closed down here, so we don't merge this into this one. And we'll see how this week develops. If we chop around this value here, then probably we're getting rotations from here to down here. But if we get like, basically this spot is pretty difficult to flip, because here we have, as you can see, the POC of this value, and then we have a POI with like some highs that we took out, stuff like this. So a breakdown here into value area low will give us a potential rotation higher. So one play is this: longs into 81, 81.5, let's say 81k. Now if we get breakdown below here, below value area low, I think we'll probably get a move down to maybe these lows, 77, 78k, and maybe even lower, new lows. So that's it for this 6 week composite. And of course, the other plan is to go ahead and rip straight through this POI here and sweep these highs. If we get a sweep of these highs into acceptance back inside, this is a good short opportunity, because as I said, we're still trading inside the range. All right. If we break out, that's a good question. We actually go to this. We had a range here. I have it marked on my trading view chart. I will show you in a while. We go into basically this range. If we get a breakout here, we go into the 90 to like 100k range. This big range here, and then we apply the same principles. If we get acceptance, slow grind here, rotation towards the POC, which is around 96k, and value high. If we reject this value, then we're seeing again the 6 week composite. So that's pretty much it regarding composites. Let me delete this quickly. Okay, now going into our chart, let's start off with weekly. Okay, we're seeing a quite good previous weekly close. This could easily lead towards these highs, this to take out these highs. Into the daily, if you can see here, we're forming a pretty decent pre-drive pattern into like a potential reversal here. The first target is these highs, and the first scenario is to sweep these highs, and the second scenario is to get a low hold here and target these highs, then these highs, and then these highs. So these two scenarios. If we reject here, which based on daily we don't have a reason to, we probably get to see new lows and revisit this value right here. If we get like a new leg down this week, I probably will be seeing high 60s or even lower. So Let's open up our levels as well. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So here we're staying rotational between this value. Below here, we're visiting this value. If we get to visit this value, a bounce here is the most bullish scenario on the higher time frame. On the lower time frame, if we get acceptance inside here, full rotation towards 60k, which is the 8-month value low. Now let's open up also our higher time frame VWAPs. So this is the yearly. According to this, you can see 80k. Let me close this here. Here we have the yearly developing value. All right, yearly developing value and previous 2024 basically value. So the place that we are right now is pretty significant because we're between these two values. Let's say if we manage to get acceptance above here and get some structure build out through here, then we're getting a rotation to the developing VWAP at least, or maybe even higher to value area high, developing value area high. Now the difficult part for the markets is when we get a rotation and acceptance basically below the previous year value area high. Acceptance below here should lead to our prior VWAP, our prior POC, which is at 66k. Alright, a bounce here would lead to a move up to 70s again, 70s, 80s again. It depends how the price action will develop until then. If we don't get a bounce here, we actually get a rotation, full rotation of this value at 52k. Actually, these lows are not looking safe if we don't manage to hold the highs here, these highs, along with our previous year VWAP. Yeah, it's looking pretty bad. Now, let's go into the quarterly VWAP, which is also looking a bit so and so. As you can see here, we have the developing quarterly value right here, and then we have the previous quarterly value. Again, this is a pretty tough spot to flip because it is before we get an acceptance above previous quarter value low. Acceptance here is the most bullish scenario we can have. Now, this is a pretty difficult resistance to flip, as you can see. And the place that I'm looking is like a sort around here, which is also our POI. Sweep of these highs, we get some distribution here, lead to move lower. And the bullish scenario would be, the first bullish scenario would be a flip, as I said before, a flip here, or a quick flush going into the new week, like maybe today or tomorrow, into the developing quarterly VWAP, low hold here, holding this low as well, keeping trend intact, and then actually the trend to follow through. And again, the most difficult level to flip is 86k, which is the previous quarter value low. All right, let me mark this out here as well. So these are our levels for now. Two scenarios. Longs above 86k, shorts around here after distribution, or longs into the previous into the developing quarterly VWAP. All right, now let's get into the monthly VWAP. This is also pretty crucial. Okay. Now, going into the monthly, as you can see here, we're in the big resistance. POI around here, so this is our POI, along with the previous monthly VWAP. As you can see, this level gives us pretty much the same level as it was with the previous quarter or year low. All right, so bullish scenario, flip of this and target these highs, right? And maybe even higher, who knows? If we escape from this previous value, we get a much bigger rotation higher. And higher, by higher, I mean towards these highs. All right. Now, basically, it's the same scenarios with quarterly VWAP because we have levels aligning. The second bullish scenario would be a quick flash going into the new week, today or tomorrow, and longs into monthly VWAP. This is actually showing trend strength, and as you can see here, we have the previous month value low, the monthly developing VWAP. So this is a pretty good play. The best longs are above here, but this is also a pretty good one because we're going with the trend actually. Now the bear scenario, let me get rid of this. The bear scenario coming into here is to form a distribution and get a full rotation lower because we're actually rejecting this value here. If you get a rejection here, we're rejecting this value. And if you remember from our previous week session regarding AMT, when we reject the value, we either go to another value or we're going back to the previous value, which is this one, the developing value. So distribution here would lead to a move down to 78, 77k, or maybe even take out these lows, because as you can see, these lows are looking pretty juicy, equal lows here. So these are your targets for the short. Going into the weekly. Okay. Again, if you remember past weeks, we talked about when weekly value opens above previous, we usually get a rotation to come and test out these levels again. If you see this, this has happened previous weeks as well. We opened below value, we came up to the value. Here we opened below value, we came up to the value and actually tested the levels to the tick. So this is again here we opened above value, we came and tested it. At some point it shows you direction basically. That's the alpha to it. Again here some sort of backtest we're doing currently. Opened below, came up and tested it. What I mean by testing it is either we get a rotation towards the levels according to how the price will react, or we're just testing the value area low or value area high. So previous week, value right here, acceptance below is a short towards these lows, and our POI at 77k, 78k, and of course even lower. The bullish scenario would be, which is aligning perfectly with our monthly and quarterly plans, actually a deviation right here going into the weekly, previous week value high, acceptance above, and the trend continues. So these are the main scenarios I'm looking at currently. Let me also open up these levels right here. Okay, I'm mainly looking this week for longs into 81, 82k around here, which is aligning with the monthly VWAP and the quarterly VWAP, and shorts up here after we get some sort of distribution. And basically my target is these highs, or maybe another play would be sweep of these highs into acceptance back inside the value. All right, so 4 main plays: sweep of these highs, longs down here, shorts around here, and shorts after we get a breakdown below here, targeting these lows or our POI, these lows basically, which is internal liquidity, our POI into 77 to 78k. So that's it for today and for the week going forward.